This morning, we have a close eye on two races that are still undecided.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, I think, to get them. One of them is Colorado's newest congressional district. Right now, Democrat Yadira Caraveo is ahead of Republican Barbara Kirkmeyer by just 2 points, with only 68% reporting. So once again, we should know maybe later today.
And Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is trailing behind Democrat Adam Frisch in the 3rd Congressional District on the western slope and in southern Colorado. Frisch is up by about 2 points, 51%, 49% right now. Early polls suggested that Boebert would win this race by a much wider margin. Now, her campaign did tell supporters to vote late, and with only 93% of the votes in from that district, this one is just too close to call this morning.
Jordan Chavez joins us now. And Jordan, both these races could play a big role on the national scale. We'll just have to wait and see what the balance of power is in the country.
Yeah, right now it's just too hard to tell with those two close to call races right now across the U.S. And while that national balance of power is still undecided this morning, the big story in Colorado is Congressional District 3. The expectation was that Republican Representative Lauren Boebert, as you mentioned, would cruise to a re-election. But now we see that she is locked in a very tight race with Democratic candidate Adam Frisch. In fact, numbers as of now have Boebert behind Frisch by nearly 3,500 votes. That is a smaller margin than we said in the last hour, and he held on to that lead throughout most of last night as well. Boebert, of course, had the upper hand with the national name recognition, aligning herself with former President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Frisch is a former Aspen council member and ran a rather centrist campaign. The fight on the western slope, though, was for unaffiliated voters, the majority of the vote in that district, and Boebert actually still thinks they could choose her.
It's unfortunate that we can't have results same day as many other countries do. That should not be the way it is in America. We should be held to a higher standard and be able to deliver results the same day. But either way, I'm absolutely optimistic.
I'm not a chest beating type of person, and I'm certainly not going to get over my skis, as we say. And we'll see how the rest of the night plays out, come 9:30 and 11:30 as well. But I'd rather be in our position than Representative Boebert's position right now.
Now to another big race that also had a lot of eyes on it, and this one was called pretty early. Democratic incumbent Michael Bennet held on to his Senate seat over Republican candidate Joe O'Dea. Now, looking at the current numbers, Bennet won that one with more than 12% of the votes, and we will hear from Bennet and talk more about the national balance of power, which does remain undecided, as we mentioned at this time, coming up at 6:30. But first, we want to check in with John Glasgow. He's live at the Colorado State Capitol, where Democrats are going to remain in power. John.
Yeah, that's right, Jordan. The race for governor leaning heavily in favor of Democrat Jared Polis. He had 61% of the votes by 8 p.m. And then about a half an hour later, Republican challenger Heidi Ganahl conceding defeat. It teed up a night of wins for the Blue across the state of Colorado. So Jared Polis, he's going to be securing his second term with the widest win in a governor's race in 20 years. He defeated Ganahl by nearly 20 points. Polis campaigned on his record with policies like all-day kindergarten and efforts to reduce health care costs as well. Ganahl campaigned on blaming Polis for inflation, surging crime, and underperforming schools. Both had very different stances on abortion as well, a key issue in this election. A landslide win for Governor Polis, who will hold office for the next 4 years. Here's what both candidates had to say after the race was called.
And whether you voted for me or not, I will work as hard as I possibly can on behalf of you and your family, and I'll never stop fighting for a better future for the state that I love. And you can always rest assured that I will always do what's right for Colorado.
The governor, I wish him well, but please do not ignore the cry for help from so many in our state. You have a duty to all of Colorado, not just Denver and Boulder.
So the Democrats also picked up key wins as well for the Colorado Attorney General as well as the Colorado Secretary of State. Incumbent Jenna Griswold beat Pam Anderson, and incumbent Phil Weiser defeated Attorney John Kellner. So both of them beat their Republican challengers by a 10-point margin. So Gary and Corey, the question now is whether or not Colorado can still be considered a purple state when there was just so many wins for blue across the board.
It's a lot of the conversation.
And I mean, they still control both houses of the legislature. You know, we thought maybe the Republicans could get a foot up on that last night, but all up and down ballot, Democrats just outperformed the Republicans, and once again.
Absolutely, and this one for the governor was just a wide landslide win here for Democrat Jared Polis, who's going to be taking office again for the next 4 years. So he plans to tackle a lot of different things, including climate change. He also wants to bring down crime. So he says he's excited about this next term and what he can do here for the state.
All right, John, thanks. Appreciate it. We're now going to take a look at how the statewide ballot measures are coming along.
9 News reporter Darius Johnson joins us with that. Darius, everything from affordable housing, alcohol, psychedelic mushrooms. These results show what's important to Coloradans.
Yeah, and it really shows the spectrum and the wide range of Colorado as well. Quite a few of these measures are too close to call right now this morning. However, Coloradans do want lower taxes. Reducing state income tax passed overwhelmingly, 65 to 35. Now, Proposition 123 also deals with state income tax of some sort. It sets aside a portion of that revenue collected to pay for affordable housing programs in the state. That ballot measure, too close to call right now. The yes votes coming in at 51%, the no's 49%. Also right now, let's take a look at booze. It's no longer 5 o'clock, but Coloradans voted on 3 boozy ballot measures. And at this hour, Coloradans don't really seem to care about changing the alcohol laws. Proposition 124 would allow liquor store license holders to increase the number of stores each year up to an unlimited amount in 2037. That measure, not too popular. It failed 62% to 38%. Now, Proposition 125 would allow wine in grocery stores. Now, remember, Colorado just allowed beer in grocery stores a couple of years ago. This ballot measure, still too close to call right now. 59% say yes, 49% say no. Now, Proposition 126 would allow liquor stores to partner with third-party companies like DoorDash, Uber, and others to deliver booze instead of having to rely on their own employees. That one, also too close to call, but currently failing 53% no to 47% yes. Now, a few measures that are leaning toward yes this morning, but still too close to call: extending property tax exemption, reducing tax reductions to fund school meal programs, and then there's the legalization of psilocybin, psychedelic mushrooms. So once again, you're easily looking at the wide range of Coloradans who are going to the polls to vote. You have many of them who are kind of like, I don't really know whether I want alcohol to be delivered to my front door or going to a grocery store to get it and pick it up anywhere. However, many of them are kind of agreeing with the legalization of these psychedelic mushrooms.
I think those alcohol numbers are very surprising this morning.
They are surprising. And you know what else is surprising, Darius, is, you know, we just talked about how the Democrats did so well last night, and they're all progressives. Well, the reduction of income tax, that's a conservative proposition, and that won overwhelmingly.
And you know, the one thing that I think when you easily talk about the reduction of that, you know, I think everyone would essentially want to bring down that number. So I feel like that's one of those things where kind of everyone maybe came to the polls to be able to vote on that. But then you easily look at people are really split when it comes down to the legalization of drugs and whether they actually want to consume more alcohol. So that just goes to show you where the minds of many of those Coloradans are.
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
Lowering the income tax, that was also backed by Governor Polis.
It was.
I think a lot of people have like inflation on the mind and they're thinking, let's just lower that.
Yeah, and that's
no matter what party.
Yep, and that affects everyone, once again, just like you said, no matter what party.
Right. All right. Hey, thanks for the update.
There is a lot, as you can see, to keep track of this morning. So for the results of all the big races, download the 9 News app. We'll also keep you updated on those races that are still undecided with results as soon as they come in.